Hello, grade sixers. Welcome to our next class of moral ed. This will actually be two classes in one, but they kind of flow well together, and they're actually quick, so they are not going to take too much more longer than what you had before. So we'll have one, two, three, and we'll have a fourth one next week, and then we'll be done moral ed for this year. All right. So remember, we're doing a mindfulness toolkit. So we kind of talked about this last class a couple weeks ago, how we're getting a collection of useful strategies to use when we're facing mental and emotional distress, right? So essentially, when we're experiencing some sort of mental, emotional, like now, because we're in a pandemic and there's stressors in our lives and we're not moving as much as we can and we're not thinking, or just have some negative thoughts, this is the perfect time why we're putting together a toolkit of things we can use when we're feeling these emotions. Last class we talked about taking a moment. Today we're going to be talking about being kind, showing gratitude. So just remember, this image I think is super powerful. It's that idea of, are you mindful, or is your mind full, right? Mindful is being aware of where you are right now, right? Oftentimes our anxiety, our stress, is connected to things that might happen or that are happened in the past. And being mindful is recognizing the present, right? Being mindful is you have all these other thoughts in your brain and distracts you from being able to do that. One strategy, the first one we're going to talk about, in order to make yourselves present and mindful and aware, and kind of limit the impacts of anxiety and stress and depression, is the idea of being kind. Right? And so there's a nice little quote here, is I think rather than using the word mindfulness, perhaps kindfulness is better. It reminds you to be forgiving and friendly as you practice. I think that's a good quote because essentially that last little bit, right? Forgiving and friendly as you practice. We are all, whether we know it or not, practicing mindfulness, right? But we're not always practicing it the best, right? So being kind. Being kind is in two parts, and the first one is being kind to others. Gotta get my little highlighter out of here. This will load. So sometimes we need to take a moment here and there to recognize that if you open to appropriate compassion, decency, tolerance, respect, support, friendliness, and even love for others, it's good for you. So part of mindfulness is being kind to other people. Imagine what the other person's concerns or wants might be and do what you can to take them into account. Then see how this turns out for you. It's probably better than it would have been. And what this is kind of reminding us is that a lot of other people right now, including your parents and your siblings, they're going through their own distresses, whether they're showing it or not. And being kind to others is going to help them along the way and in their practice, right? It's one less stressor, but it's also going to help you. Okay? When you put yourself in someone else's shoes and you actually go and help them out, right? That's called empathy, and you help someone out, it gives you feedback, positive feedback. It shows you some positive qualities. A lot of times we feel lost and confused, and the number one thing that I can advise you, even though I don't always practice it myself and it's something I'm working on, is when you're stuck, help someone else. Because by helping someone else, you feel accomplished, you feel good, and you're helping other people. And that's what being kind to others can help us do. There's this, it's a hiking quote right here, right? When I go hiking, you basically when you want to leave your campsites nicer than when you came. That means you don't litter. That means you don't take like sticks and stuff like that. You don't break stuff. You kind of want to have that same way with your interactions with people. Right? You want to leave them in a better state than when you found them. You never want to bring them down. You never want to add to their problems in their life. You want to help them through it. That's going to help you with their suffering and help you with your own. It's going to help you be more social and together. The next one is being kind to yourself, and this one is probably the most important when we're practicing mindfulness. A lot of times people can find it difficult. They find difficulty in caring for themselves, right? Receiving love and believing they deserve to be happy. Oftentimes when we're anxious, or especially when we're depressed, we don't feel like we deserve to be better, for whatever reason that is. Right? We don't see a lot of value in ourselves, or maybe our thoughts get to that point. Right? Maybe they're just a little bit when we fail a test, when we don't do as well, when we don't make a football team, right? Maybe when one of our friends isn't talking to us, we say, well, maybe I'm the problem. And you know what? Maybe there's some stuff we need to work on, but the most important thing that we need to remind ourselves is we are enough, though. We are important. Yeah, I am worthy. I am value. I am enough as I am. You are a human being on this planet, right? You have worth. And that's important to remember. You deserve to be happy. Even if you make a mistake and you do something really regrettable, at the end of the day, you deserve love still. And so, people who are compassionate to yourselves, the moment you start loving yourselves, you're being kind for yourselves, you're forgiving your mistakes, right? They're less likely to be depressed, anxious, and stressed, and actually are often more happy, resilient, and optimistic about their future. And so, right there in this image here, we have a little bit of rephrasing of words, lists of not enoughs, right? So, what we need to do is we need to cross these out. I'm not toned enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm not fun enough, I'm not popular enough. Right? Be kind to yourself. You are enough, just the way that you are. Right? Forgive yourself for your mistakes or for whatever flaws you think you have, because it's really easy to start having that kind of negative mindset. The next thing that we're going to talk about is showing gratitude. Right? So there's first being kind to others and yourself, but also being grateful. Gratitude, when gratitude becomes your default setting, your life is going to change. So showing gratitude, that's the process of being thankful or showing appreciation for what is positive in your life, right? What do you have? Noticing the good things in a day instead of the others. I really like this quote from Maya Angelou, right? This is a wonderful day. I've never seen this one before. At the end of the day, we are all in very different situations, and it's really hard sometimes to see this. It's called the silver lining, right? So when you have a cloud, I'll draw, right? A cloud, that's a terrible cloud. Around that dark stormy cloud that's going to rain and crash thunder and lightning, kind of scare us, there is a, well, it's not silver, but there is a outlining, a little silver lining that even on the gloomiest moments, right, there's a little bit of good in it still. And so what this Maya Angelou quote says is, even at our worst, even at our lowest moment, every day is a good day because we've seen it, right? There's something to be grateful in it. There's something new. And so that it's, instead of focusing on what you don't have, it's focusing on what you do have. And I think this is really important when we're stuck in quarantine. There's a lot of stuff that we've had a lot of plans. I had a lot of plans. Right? Obviously, coming to Abu Dhabi, I thought it was going to be a very different year. You thought your grade 6 year was also going to be extremely different. You had different spring break plans potentially, and summer plans that all got changed. You're going to do things, your birthdays might have been canceled within it. But instead of focusing on what we don't have, it's very important that we take a moment and we say, yeah, but I'm with my family, right? If they are healthy, you can be thankful for their health. You thankful for the food that you do have, the moments that you do have, the fact that most of you have working internet and you have access to education, some things that people don't. And so it's finding those things to be thankful for. And even not in moments, there's a phrase in America, it's called keeping up with the Joneses. So in like the 1950s, 1960s, probably even before that actually, there was this trend with, and like and actually it happens now, where you see that your neighbor or your friend has something new, and you feel this not pressure but this desire to get exactly what they have, right? It's like whenever your friend has the iPhone 11, like, oh, I should also get the iPhone 11. Whenever so and so gets a new flat screen TV, you go out and buy the new flat screen TV. And something we got to remind ourselves is that instead of just saying I want more or I want more because someone else has more, they get better marks than me, they're more athletic than me. Like instead of desiring other things, it's worrying less about how you compare with others and just say, hey, yeah, but I have all these talents too. So we all do have talents. So being kind and being grateful for what you have, they're very important. And one of the reasons that they're so important is that they shape your mindset. Right? So to our left right here, right, we have inside the head we have darker colors, right? And what happens is when we have negative thoughts, right, when we're harsh on ourselves, when we're critical of ourselves all the time, when we're not always grateful for everything, when we always want something more, we stay in that mindset. Chemically in our brains, when we start thinking more positively, right? When we think more positively, when we're kind to ourselves, when we forgive ourselves, when we forgive others, right, for hurting us or for hurting other people, all these things, we enter ourselves in a more positive mindset. Right? It's a scientific fact, chemically. And a lot of times what happens is we practice things like we're going to read, journaling and breathing and all these things. In a way, it's like tricking your brain until it becomes a habit, right? You're tricking your brain. There's some people who, when they try to diet, which whatever reason, right, they look at the food they want to eat as they eat something healthy, because they're tricking that. I don't know if that's real, but what is real is definitely that idea that when we're struggling with our mental health, right, we get the mindset we establish is going to be the one that perpetuates, the one that's going to keep going. So by practicing daily positive thinking, it will take work. It will be a while. It's not going to be something you wake up overnight. By practicing, it eventually becomes habit, and it's the way that you're going to think. So our task for today is once again going to this storyboard. Just got to pull this up, right? Storyboard here. Okay, you're going to go to the storyboard. You're going to go press begin, and you can breeze through it. Once again, pick how you're feeling. Today I'm pretty content. I'm all right. You can take it again, click anything, and you're going to get to this past your mindful moments, and then you're going to press continue. Get to checkpoint 1. Now on checkpoint 1, after checkpoint 1, you're going to have to click on either show gratitude or the be kind challenge. So click on the be kind challenge. Now there's a little description of what being kind is, right? And there are 3 things that you can click. So being for yourself. And you have this that you can read. Now just like last week, the exact same as last week, we have 2 sections to do. Alright, so in this section, this is basically, oh, I don't have it up behind me. Right, this is basically talking about being kind strategy. You're going to talk about what the strategy is, how you do it, how do you think it benefits somebody, and then how might you use this strategy in your own life. All of this information you can get from here, or you just got to think about it. Now, what happens is, it will take you to checkpoint 2 if you press continue. You need to do it for 2 of these things. Right, as you can see, 2 of them. So what you're going to do instead is, instead of pressing continue, you're going to go up in this toolbar, so what's highlighted in blue right now, and you're just going to press enter, and that's going to refresh it. Or it should. Well, of course, it's taking forever to load right now, as I talk and as I seemingly waste more time. Anyways, when you reload it, it's going to take you all the way back, and you're going to go through it again, but this time you're going to click on a different be kind to yourself. Okay? So there's that. If you're struggling on what is being kind for yourself, definitions are again going to be here. This will also be posted. Okay, but I'll get rid of that for now. We don't need to worry about this. So we have this. Once again, we'll go through. We'll go beginning. We'll press beginning. We'll pick how you're feeling. Maybe you're upset today. You'll click a take a moment activity, but you don't have to read this. Click any one of these. Continue until you get to checkpoint 1. So you're basically going forward until you get to checkpoint 1. And then once again, if you filled out both of your be kinds, then you can start on show gratitude. And there's going to be a whole new list of other stuff to click on and read. Alright? So we've done this before. If you're still struggling, let me know and maybe we can zoom and figure it out. I know some people have done that. Alright? I hope you take a good day to practice a little bit of mindfulness, and because we only have 2 more weeks, guys. It's going to be busy, and then you're going to be on the summer, and this is really going to be helpful in the summer when you don't have the kind of structure of school. Trust me. I hope you have a good day. See ya.